On this segment, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to talk about, so we're going to talk about some of my musical influences or inspirations coming up, you know, as a youth, things that music that I listen to and things of that nature.
The Grammy is the most important award to me. It's so good.
I really feel respected now, though, as far as music is concerned. This is only our sophomore project, so it's a really big deal for us to be able to be here and not only be nominated, but to win.
First one I want to bring up is Brandy and Monica, The Boy's Mom, which is so funny because, you know, they just did the verses probably about 2 or 3 months ago, and this was the song that everybody was waiting for them to play because, you know, this was them together. And I literally listened to this song about 100 times because when I first heard this song, well, when I was able to understand the song when I was in my teenage years and shit, you know, it just the way that, because I listen to music a cappella. That's how I break music down a lot of times. I like to hear a cappella. I like to hear the notes. I like to hear the cadence. I like to hear like the vocal arrangements and things of that nature. And it was so amazing just to hear these women voice compliment each other. Sometimes you couldn't even tell who was on which record. And when I do records with other artists that are in like that sing in a similar octave that I do, I think about that. I think about making the song blend, the transition from one artist to the other when we're harmonizing with each other. How does our voice complement each other? And I feel like this record showcased that with 2 incredible vocalists and, you know, major artists of our generation. So that's my take on that one.
How you all doing? My name is Q, and I'm 18.
What's up, everybody? I'm Deron. I'm 18 also.
How you doing, New York City? This is Slim, and I'm 17.
What's up, New York? I'm Mike. I'm 17.
112. All right. So 112, obviously, you know, they were, and they are still R&B legend group. You know what I'm saying? One of Bad Boy's biggest groups. And with them, I want to speak just on not the record, Only You, but the actual group. Like I said, growing up, listen to their music. My parents listened to their music. You know, they were hot back in the 90s, early 2000s, and they made a lot of great music. It's just their vibe. It was, for me, I think it was the first R&B group that I seen that had, like, dark-skinned men. I felt like that was something different for the industry, just looking back at, because a lot of times when you look at a lot of the groups that was coming up, there were a lot of like fair-skinned, light-skinned men. That was considered the end vibe, or whatever the case may be.
The best. I mean, I'd have to say me. You know what I mean? I'd have to say that on the strength that, you know what I'm saying, I write what I like to hear. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That niggas been doing it for a mad long time. There's much respect and all that. You know what I'm saying? So you can't take nothing from nobody. But you know what I'm saying? I'm sure every artist here would feel the same way. We're the best. Mm-hmm. I am. I mean, they'd all say that they are.
Time to shift gears. I want to go with Rough Riders. All right. So, me growing up, I didn't sing. That wasn't my thing. My mom sang. I was in church singing just to do it, you know. But I love rapping. That was something that I really was into. I actually was a rapper first. I did talent shows singing, then I did talent shows rapping. It was what it was. Rough Riders, that era with DMX, Drag On, Eve, that whole game was that whole lane was insane, and I was just an advocate for it because DMX played such a prominent role in just the music industry. His contribution to the industry was so imperative because he was, in my opinion, I don't look at him as a reincarnation of Tupac, but he was an unapologetic rapper. He had a tone voice that was just demanding. People gravitated towards his vibe. He was, you know, he had the bald head. I feel like that's bold. I think anybody that rock a bald head is bold. So that's just off the drip. He bald head. He a thug with it, but he not taking no shit from nobody. And they was big on the bikes. You know, he was from Yonkers, New York, so they was bringing back that New York vibe. Riding on the 4-wheelers and shit like that. That shit was lit. Like, as kids, we wanted a 4-wheeler because of DMX. That's how it was. Then he branched off into the movies, and he was actually one of the, like, you know, outside of like Ice Cube, he was one of the most I would say anticipated rappers that went into the filming industry and dominated. You know, if DMX did a movie, that motherfucker was selling out, and that's just how impactful he was on the industry. So I look at Rough Rider and DMX as influencers because of the fact that their impact on the industry and how they made me look at life different. Just as a kid, wanting certain things, stuff like that.
Jermaine always told me, if you don't have good grades, man, I wouldn't have signed you. So the grades are like the key. People who think the grades are not the key, they're the dummies. So basically, school is like the #1 most important thing.
So I'm rolling with Lil Bow Wow, a.k.a. Shy Moss. Now, despite everything that people say about him in the media today, motherfucker's a hit maker, smashing anybody in the industry right now. But no, as a youth, you will be a fool. Well, at least I know from my age, at 29, we all want to be like Lil Bow Wow. Change the culture. You want to get braids. You want to get cornrows because Lil Bow Wow. You want to wear jerseys like Lil Bow Wow. You Harlem Shake. Like, he was our, niggas wanted to be like him because he was in our age demographic. He was in our age bracket, and it was like, yo, all the girls wanted him. So when you are a kid growing up and you want the girls or you want what someone has, you want to be like them. And now as an adult, when I go through artist development and I have these different people trying to come up with images and come up with different schemes to help my image, the #1 thing they always mention is you want to be the guy that people want to be and the guy that people want to be with. And I felt like Bow Wow exemplified that in his career, in his young career for years. I feel like people wanted to be like him and girls wanted to be with him. And at the end of the day, as a teenager or even, a preteen, this is something that, that he had that type of impact on us. Then the Like Mike movie, we all wanted to play basketball. Everybody wanted to do everything like Lil Bow Wow on some real shit. At least that's how I looked at it. At least from my perspective, that's how I envision it. I remember my sister, my little cousins, they all had his posters on their wall, the Scream tours, all that stuff. So definitely want to say he definitely played a major role, as far as musical influences when I was a youth, things like that.
But they call me USHERRAYNMOND.
Oh.
Now, baby, tell me what you want to do with me.
Oh, well, you got me feeling like Jodeci.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well.
Every time that you roll with me, holding me, trying to keep control of me, nice.
Well, let me get involved.
Usher and I is the same damn height. All right, let's start there. So I knew I had a chance when I stood next to him at 18. So I met Usher at a concert almost, 11 years ago. I forgot where we were at, but it was one of my first concerts. I believe it probably was in Michigan. He had did a show out there, and I remember standing next to him, and I was like, damn. Just in my mind, and I wasn't even into music at this time. Like, I wasn't singing at the professional level, but I just making, like, side jokes in my head, like, damn, I'm the same height as this nigga. What the fuck going on? All right, that's cool. Like, that's something, for me, that's just some silly shit, because, like, I'm short, and I see a lot of R&B artists that's short, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I guess that's an R&B thing, being short. But ultimately, 8701, this song, or this album, came out. This is one of my favorite albums outside of Confessions. You know what I'm saying? This album came out when I was in the 5th grade. I remember, let me think. 5th grade. I remember that was the same year that the World Trade Center airplane crash and all that stuff happened. So I just remember listening to the music, you know what I'm saying, during that process. And I remember we had a talent show that year, and I sang You Got It Bad. I know that's on him. Yeah, You Got It Bad. Whoa. And I remember trying to find clothes for the show, and I remember looking at the video and trying to mimic, okay, what did Usher have on? So my dad had gave me clothes. I had wore a jersey. I had all baggy clothes. I had like a do-rag on. That was a look back then. And I remember getting a bunch of flowers and roses for the young ladies. I'm in 5th grade. I'm thinking I was 9 or 10 or some shit like that. And I'm singing You Got It Bad, singing my heart out. You know, kids, can't sing for real, goddammit. I'm just out here doing what I think I'm doing. And I just remember just that moment, you know, and it just was crazy because I was like, yo, Like I just was a huge Usher fan as a kid, you know. And even as I grew older in my career, through music, through life, I just found myself more and more in tune with, you know, Usher music, everything that he embodies as an artist, just looking at his development and his growth and development over the years, and even how he handled himself off camera, going through similar situations that I went through. You know, I had a baby on one of my chicks and shit, and I had to stomach that. That shit real, you know? So when I hear this music and I hear people go through some of the stuff they go through, and I've been through it, and I'm going through it as an adult, it hits home a little harder. It's like, damn, okay, I remember when Usher was singing about getting a chick pregnant and on his chick, and she ain't trying to, you know, she keeping the baby. That shit tough. I've been through that, you know what I mean? And it's like, when you're listening to the music, it just makes it more soothing. Like, damn, this shit is real. Like, I connect, you know? And when you feel like you draw that personal correlation with an artist, it's like, that changes the whole game plan for you and how you look at that artist. And I feel like he made that much of a contribution when it came to music for me and things of that nature. So that's my top 5 most influential musicians or things that I would say that influenced me as an artist growing up, you know, in this industry and stuff like that. So